Good morning, SKN. I'm Jamie Morris.
And I'm Cortenta Cardi.
It's a great Monday.
It is.
I can't believe it. Weeks seem to roll. We are in the, let me count correctly, 7th month of the year already. It seems as if the year just began, but you know what? Wheels are rolling by, and so is life. So
is life.
Hopefully you guys are making the most of it.
Indeed. You ought to make the most of it. As they say, sleep with your dreams or get up and chase them. So I hope they're chasing them today.
Well, definitely. So I know that you definitely were up before sunrise, as typical.
4:30 in the a.m.
There we go. Exactly.
Excited about today.
Well, I'm going to stop asking people for those camera shots. I'm going to ask you instead to share what you have, because you take some beautiful shots.
Yeah,
all right?
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the latest on this lovely Monday morning here in the Eastern Caribbean. This by way of a Nevis Island Administration press release. 3 students grabbed the top positions among 11 students of the Cecile Brown Integrated School, CBIS, who participated in the Ministry of Tourism's Exposition Nevis 2022 Environmental Poster Contest. The theme was Keep Nevis Clean. At a brief prize-giving ceremony held at the school recently, Hildreth Tross captured the top spot, followed by Jacoya Francis in 2nd place and Kajante Hobson in 3rd. The top 3 winners and the school were presented with gifts and certificates of appreciation by the Honorable Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis and Minister of Tourism. The gifts included school supplies from the ministry and platinum sponsor Latitude 17, a development consultant and project construction management company managed by Martha Esbister. Each of the 11 participants received a $100 gift card from Latitude 17. They were encouraged to include art supplies when shopping with the gift card as they continue to develop their art skills. Oh, this is so cool.
That's so sweet. So get your art supplies so you can continue your journey. We'll continue now with story number 2, casting call for upcoming movie. This from the ZIZ newsroom. MSR Media issues a casting call for roles in a 7th movie to be filmed on the island of Nevis. MSR Media wrapped filming of Father Christmas is Back, starring Kelsey Grammer and Elizabeth Hurley, in May, and plans to begin producing The Island, its first pure action film, in the coming weeks. The company is seeking persons to fill more than 12 speaking roles that pays US $300 per day. The casting call also includes featured supporting artist role that pay $150 US per day. According to MSR Media, we are seeking diverse talent to join our community and talented actors. All ages, genders, and authenticities are welcome and encouraged to apply. The first round of applications will be accepted until July 10th. Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, thanked MSR Media and producer Mr. Philip Martinez for their solid partnership, adding that he looks forward to expanding our collaboration well into the future.
Yeah, I love the story.
So are we going to work? Are we going to sign up? Are we going to be actor and actress extraordinaire?
This is all I have to say. Anybody who, we can submit the demo tape of us on Studio 327. Are we acting right now? Cut. Do we? I don't
That's
know.
a good cut.
This is great.
That was
the
a
pay
good
is
cut.
good. Hopefully, they're going to help that industry boom as well. So local actors can definitely benefit from that.
Yes, and expound on their skills.
Very good indeed. All right, so moving on to story number 3 from SKNIS, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis is committed to the development of renewable energy within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, said His Excellency Mr. Michael C.H. Lin, Ambassador of the Republic of China on Taiwan, to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis during his address at a renewable energy webinar on July 7th. His Excellency, Mr. Michael C.H. Lin, said that, quote, renewable energy stands at the center of global efforts to shift the world's leading economies towards poverty eradication and environmentally sustainable development, and now is recognized. With this bountiful geothermal, wind, and solar resources, St. Kitts and Nevis has sufficient renewable energy resources potential to meet the current and future interest in these, end quote. Minister with responsibility for energy, Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, said in his presentation, quote, the objective of this project is the development of renewable energy and the enhancement of the related professional expertise of our citizens and residents in the field of renewable energy, end quote. Oh, all right, so great. So
Energy all around.
I always thought that based on our location, though, apart from the geothermal energy, definitely solar and wind would be, we should be able to harness, not necessarily easily because obviously it's going to be expensive, but it would make sense to do it because of where we're located. So Yeah.
Because Nevis do have some wind turbines.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I walked beside one and I felt so little. So if Nevis can do it, then maybe we can do it too, because we're bigger. We can probably put them in a peninsula where it gets the most wind.
You know what, that's also possible, so, right.
I hope they're listening and taking our little ideas. We will end this hour with our weather forecast. It's partly cloudy with a 60% or a moderate chance of showers. There is a high of 90 and a low of 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, and the hourly weather, 9 and 10. A bit of lightning. But all in all, great weather for the remainder of the day. We advise that you stay tuned. We will be right back with regional and international news.
Do you know that common baked goods such as bread and crackers are high in salt? Get salt smart.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We now continue with regional news. Weight loss winner reflects on journey and encourages others to get fit. This from Antigua Observer Media. Winner of the first ever Antigua and Barbuda Institute of Technology Abbott Weight Loss Challenge, Robert Williams, revealed that it has been a challenging few months for him on his journey. The father of three credited his 30-pound weight loss to better nutritional practice. Williams began the 3-month-long challenge at 304.6 pounds and ended with 278.2 pounds, making him the overall winner of the wellness competition. Williams said, and quote, "At first it was kind of annoying with the way that it was up and down, but then you start to learn and understand what works with your body. After that, I started to time my meals, do a bit of fasting. Someone said you can't outwork your nutrition, so working out helps. But I think nutrition was key for me. I used to be in the gym a lot, but I was gaining more weight, so I started walking. I wasn't big into walking because I thought it was more for older people. I thought you had to go to the gym and work hard. I started walking a minimum of 15,000 steps per day, about 5 to 8 miles, and then I just saw the weight dropping off. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a great story indeed. So we're gonna walk out of the studio right now.
And walking is not for old people, huh? I love to walk. That's my vibe. Yes.
Can we do that in the interest of our health? We're gonna start walking right now. Are you guys at home gonna be okay with that if we leave? Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. We're gonna be here.
We're here to stay with you for the next 2 hours.
Listen, that's a really good story because I understand how, and you do as well, how difficult weight loss can be sometimes, especially when you have to do it daily and you're not used to it. So he did really well. I'm really impressed by him.
Yes.
No, seriously.
30 pounds. That's.
In 3 months.
I know.
Yeah, the most I did was 13 and 11 weeks, and that was like walking and running every other day, and it was
But
ridiculous.
that's good though.
Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, we're moving on to international news. The Uber files, massive leak reveals how top politicians secretly helped Uber. And that's from the BBC. Thousands of leaked files have exposed how Uber courted top politicians and how far it went to avoid justice. They detail the extensive help Uber got from leaders such as Emmanuel Macron and ex-EU Commissioner Neelie Kroes. They also show how the taxi firm's former boss personally ordered the use of a kill switch to prevent raiding police from accessing computers. Uber says its past behavior wasn't in line with present values, and it is a different company today. The Uber files are a trove of more than 124,000 records, including 83,000 emails and 1,000 other files involving conversations spanning 2013 to 2017. They were leaked to The Guardian and shared with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists and a number of media organizations, including BBC Panorama. They reveal, for the first time, how a $90 million a year lobbying and public relations effort recruited friendly politicians to help in its campaign to disrupt Europe's taxi industry, while French taxi drivers staged sometimes violent protests in the streets against Uber. Mr. Macron, now president, was on first-name terms with Uber's controversial boss, Travis Kalanick, and told him he would reform laws in the firm's favor. Yeah, this takes me back down memory lane because I do remember some of those protests making their way in the news, and it was ridiculous. Now we see somewhat the other side of it, some of the things people have been saying for a long time coming to light.
That is true.
Hey, you never know. You never know. All right, well, there you have it for the latest. We will be back in a moment with more Good Morning SKN. Stay tuned.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Yeah. I know we can make it. It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe. Everybody gonna be one kind, yeah. One people. We are roll up to roll up, yeah. 'Cause no man's alone. Do what's right, alright. 'Cause I love you, brother, my sister, and we're in this together, my sister, my brother. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Hey, I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. tell your mommy, roll up to roll out.
Everyone is encouraged to adopt a healthy and positive approach to daily life. Here are a few friendly reminders.
When you go to the local market and food vendors, remember to maintain a social distance of 6 feet or 2 meters apart. And always wear your mask.
Always keep your hands clean. Wash your hands with soap and water or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. When dining, choose restaurants with staggered seating. This will lower the risk of transmission.
If you have a fever, cough, or other respiratory symptoms, please wear a mask and seek medical care immediately. Rest at home and do not visit the food vendors, local markets, or restaurants.
You ever hear earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, earthquake, I coming Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might broke up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Children, how can you tell a tsunami coming?
Teacher me.
Sammy?
My mother said, when uncle jump in the pool and the water spoosh out, that's how you tell a tsunami coming.
Settle down, children, settle down. Do you remember our tsunami song?
Yes!
Mommy, Uncle not here and the other shake.
Hush your mouth.
Daddy, Uncle not here and the sea gone.
Who cares? You don't see all them free fish? Quick, give me the bag.
This is how you tell a tsunami a come. Teacher says so. I would have failed in school, you know.
Sammy, come, let me go. They would have failed anyhow. Let me run, see, Sammy.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We are 1 month into the start of the hurricane season, and so good so far. In the Caribbean, this is the time of year that we pay attention to the African coast, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Caribbean Sea, looking for any type of heightened weather activity. This can range from a trough or tropical wave all the way up to a full-blown Category 5 hurricane. And how do you track a hurricane? Today, our first guest is going to give us some understanding about storms in general, as well as show us how we can track them and when they are coming our way. We welcome Donnell Dixon, a Met officer who is a trained meteorologist and a forecaster. Good morning, Donnell. Welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You are certainly welcome. We'll dive right into it. How does a storm have its beginnings?
A storm derives its energy from the warm ocean, the latent heat provided by the ocean. Usually, it starts off as a cluster of thunderstorms. But as things get better developed and certain conditions are met, we start to see the storm blowing up and posing a threat to the islands.
All right, so one of the unusual things that we noticed about storms is that sometimes they even start right here in the Caribbean Sea. That's more normal now than it was before, for instance, because I remember, I think it was Lenny.
It's more normal than we think. We normally associate hurricanes with the waves that come off of the African coast, but it's very possible for them to develop from just a mere thunderstorm. So once the conditions are right, you would see the development.
All right, let me ask you this another way then. When it came to Hurricane Lenny, the way that it started basically, I think it was over in Jamaica, Belize, possibly, and it came this way. That's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't normally follow that path. That way, they used to associate Lenny as the opposite.
Yes, I know. Indeed.
So being hot is not necessarily good?
Oh, no, not as far as I know, but of course, Donnell can guide us with that.
Okay, so Donnell, can you guide us through the various categories of storms?
Okay, the different categories, we normally use the Saffir-Simpson scale, hurricane scale, which is the categories are dependent on the strength of the wind.
Okay.
For the first stage is normally the tropical depression, which is 0 to 38 miles per hour. Then you have a tropical storm, which is 39 miles per hour to 73 miles per hour. Then we move into the hurricane, category 1, which is 74 miles per hour to 95 miles per hour. Category 2, 96 miles per hour to 110 miles per hour. From they reach category 3, they are considered major hurricanes, which is from 111 miles per hour to 130 miles per hour. Category 4, 131 to 155, and category 5, hopefully we don't see any of those, is greater than 156 miles per hour.
Wow.
All right, and that is the scale that you're using. We recently talked with Abdia Samuel, who told us that there have been some considerations of perhaps splitting that category 5, or at least giving us 6 categories instead, because of the major storms that we can see.
Yeah, based on, in recent times, they have seen hurricanes getting as close as 200 miles per hour. So they were thinking about adding a 6th category, but hopefully we don't need that.
No, we don't need a 6th. We don't even need the 5 that we have.
I was about to say, but we're going to get them anyway. So what can you tell us about the effects that could be associated with each of the different categories that you mentioned, and perhaps what we can do to prepare?
Well, in terms of a category 1, we up to a category 3, we should be able to handle well, but when we start seeing category 4 and category 5, well, it's also dependent on the type of structures we have here in St. Kitts. And I find in St. Kitts we have relatively good homes. Some of the other Caribbean islands, they tend to have a lot of board structures still.
Yes.
So in their case, if they were to see probably a category 2, it could cause intense damage, unlike if it was to come here and come across the decent structures we have here.
Okay.
All right, so our infrastructure seems to be on point for the most part, so at least we're grateful for that.
So how early should one start preparing for hurricanes?
From the onset of the hurricane season, you shouldn't wait until a storm is threatening. You should have some kind of plan in place. So in the event that a hurricane is threatening, you don't have to be in the hustle and bustle with everyone. You just cool, relax. You're just waiting for it to come and pass, and hopefully no significant damages are done to your property or your family.
We've managed to survive hurricanes over the past few years. Do you have any indication as to why, other than the act of God? Not that I'm asking them to come.
There's just this weird thing where a lot of the times the hurricanes are just there. They are projected to come our way, and just last minute they just take a magical turn south or just north and just, leave sweet sugar city.
I would just say we've been very lucky in the past because, I think we're on the inner end of the archipelago anyway. We're on the left side, Antigua, Barbuda, not so privileged. And so when the storms go that way and they're projected to come this way, generally they turn and then they hit places like the BVI or the USVI, and we saw the devastating effects that they had. I do remember, and every time I say it, I still get a little, let's say it, terrified.
And one of the islands that is very unfortunate is normally Dominica. Dominica, to get a lot of the tropical storms, the depressions, and then in recent times, Maria would have done some work on it.
Why though? Why do you think? Because they're in the middle of it?
Basically, I guess the storms would just, instead of coming our way, they would just continue along their path. And unfortunately, Dominica is right there.
And sometimes the weather conditions as well, I imagine, definitely suppress them, so they keep them further south of the river.
Yeah, if there is a strong Atlantic high pressure, it keeps the system further south.
Nice. So we need to keep up our Atlantic pressure.
I love the way you say that, like we can turn the thermostat. We need to keep up our Atlantic
I'm just saying, putting it out there in the universe.
All right, so Danelle, we're going to take a break. We'll be back to talk with you on the other side of it. More GMSKN in a moment, everyone. Stay tuned.
The continued fight against COVID-19 requires the continued practice of public health measures across all sectors and in every community. Frequent and proper hand washing, wearing face masks, and physical distancing. Do you know who is not physical distancing? The Aedes aegypti mosquito. Let's avoid overloading our healthcare systems. This means simultaneously protecting yourselves and your loved ones from all disease, including mosquito-borne illness like dengue fever, Zika, and chikungunya viruses. Did you know that dengue is the most common mosquito-borne viral disease in the world? So let's get to work. Use window and door screens to keep mosquitoes out. Change the water in vases and scrub inside surfaces to remove mosquito eggs. Avoid using saucers with potted plants to prevent collection of water. Securely cover water barrels and drums with mosquito netting and properly fitted covers. Scrub the inside walls of water barrels and drums with detergent 1 to 2 times per week. Walk around the outside of your home and remove or overturn containers that can collect water and become breeding sites. Mosquitoes only need a small amount of water to lay their eggs. Remove unwanted cans, bottles, buckets, or used tires. Other items still in use must be properly stored in covered areas to avoid water settling in them. Clean roof gutters and air conditioner trays. Debushing and removing tall grass from around your home or establishment is also key to reducing mosquito populations. To decrease your risk of being bitten by infected mosquitoes, use proven personal protective methods too. Apply an effective mosquito repellent to exposed areas of skin according to manufacturer's instructions. Wear light-colored long pants and shirts while outdoors in the early morning and late afternoons. Further, protect vulnerable family members like pregnant women, children, the elderly, and persons who are unwell by using mosquito nets to sleep or rest, even during the day. Fight the bite and protect yourself and your family too from mosquito-borne diseases. This message is brought to you by the Pan American Health Organization, Office for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean countries.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I coming Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the doorway or any exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, don't want to run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Before the break, Met Officer Janelle Dixon told us about the types of storms that pass through our region, and we're going to find out a bit more about how he's going to show Cortensi and I how to track a storm. So, lesson 101, right? 101.
The geography class 101. Okay, to track storms, we normally use geographical coordinates.
Okay.
In terms of getting the coordinates, you need two pairs of coordinates. Usually, we use the coordinates for the storm, which we will use the eye of the storm, and then the other coordinate would be the country in relation to what you're trying to find, how far it is out. So here on this graph, I made a little grid, grid graph to show the latitude and longitude. The latitude runs north to south, longitude east to west, or basically side to side.
Okay.
St. Kitts is located at 17.2 north and 62.7 west. In this scenario, I placed the tropical cyclone at 10 degrees north and 25 west. If we normally use the National Hurricane Latitude Longitude Calculator to calculate the distance. When you compute the distance, you would get about 4,000 kilometers, which will tell you the storm is 4,000 and change kilometers away from St. Kitts.
Okay.
You want to give it a try?
Yeah, for sure. Can I use the marker now?
Sure.
Step right in. Go.
Okay, look for latitude 20.
20.
Remember, latitude runs north to south.
So 20. So do I just put a dot at 20?
Wait, and then you have to wait for go to 30 longitude.
Okay.
20 and 30.
So it's right there, right?
It's up here, yeah. Yeah,
so
right
I'm
there.
supposed to put the 20 on the line of the 20?
No, you look for the 20 line and the 30.
So
remember, it's geographical coordinates. It's both longitude and latitude.
Yeah, but is this where I have the dot? Is it correct?
This is correct. 20 north, 30 west.
Okay.
So it's one dot in that particular area.
Yeah.
It's the intersection, right?
So then, if you want to find the distance of the storm from St. Kitts, you would use St. Kitts' coordinates along with the 20 north and 30 west.
Okay.
And that will give you the distance it is away from St. Kitts.
Okay.
You want to try?
I've been plotting my whole life.
Sound like a maths guy.
I am.
Okay.
Right.
We'll do one kind of unrealistic because the storms normally start out that far and come to us.
Okay.
Go for 50 north and 40 west.
Okay, 50 north and 40 west. So 10, 40, 40, 40. There we go.
Look for the 40 down here.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
And you put your plot. And then you would use this coordinate to get the location in reference to St. Kitts.
All right, so can I just do this? This is a tropical cyclone, Jamie. Which
Yeah, sure.
We can never have, by the way, just putting it out
Next year, there's going to be something named after Jamie.
at all. I don't
He
wish
preempted
at
it.
all.
Okay, so how do we find out how far it is from St. Kitts now? As you said, we just plotted an unrealistic.
The same process. You use the coordinates for St. Kitts and you plug in the coordinates for the tropical storm Jamie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, so this is really math that has been abstracted into computer software and computer programming and that sort of thing. You can do the calculations very easily.
And now there are programs where you just take the mouse You draw a line, gives you the reading right off the bat.
Look at that.
And then in those cases, when you know how fast it's traveling or how it's projected to change speed, you can predict when it's going to land.
Yes, basically, once the motion remains consistent. Because remember, the motion often changes.
All right, yes.
But Danelle, aren't you concerned that once we learn this, that we won't need somebody like you?
It's all right, I mean...
we need you still, but...
Knowledge is power, knowledge is power.
Okay, no problem.
It's okay if the public can help themselves in certain situations.
Okay.
And we'll still need people like you because you're the guys who put this all together.
Yes, exactly.
And human error being what it is, we need
Exactly.
trained professionals to let us know what's going on, especially. All right, so the question that I had really is also with terms of this. You're monitoring the hurricane, you're looking at the eye of it, and you're able to get projections as to the change of intensity, so that's how you're able to say, well, when it lands, it's going to be likely 2 or 3 or whatever it is.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Through the use of models. They do a lot of model runs, using supercomputers to try and predict the path and the changes in intensity.
Okay. So then now what else does your job entail at the Met Office?
Well, we provide climatological information for persons who are doing certain projects. Persons in agriculture, they want some certain rainfall values, I guess, trying to set up the irrigation systems and so on. We do hourly observations to provide information to the ATC officers upstairs who then pass the information on to the pilots, because the pilots use the weather information to assist with their aviation. They're flying and...
Okay.
Yeah, so really important job. Question, so you still think that you as a former flight attendant wouldn't need somebody like Danelle?
Well, in the air I do need him, but you see, now he's teaching me this, maybe I still need you, don't worry.
I wasn't.
I know you were. All right, so thank you so much for stopping by and sharing this vital information with us. Before we leave, though, before we end the segment, is there anything that you want to tell the public by way of the importance of preparing for tropical storms? If there is, you can look right into that camera.
Once again, we are onto another hurricane season. This season is expected to be above average, but that doesn't mean we would be directly impacted by a hurricane. However, you should still prepare as if, prepare for in the event a hurricane is coming. You don't have to be in a rush trying to secure things.
And we heard it from the man who is an expert himself, Danelle Dixon. Thank you so much for joining us.
What's up?
Thanks for having me.
All right, more GMSKN in a moment, everyone. Stay tuned.
It's been 6 months now and Glenn hasn't been working. His attitude has completely changed and he's been leaving the house every day for hours and liming with his friends and coming home drunk and causing confusion.
Gloria, this is what you cooked today? This is not enough food for a big man like me.
But Glenn, it's been 6 months now. You haven't given me any money to shop for food.
Okay, so what you want me to do if my boss ain't called me out for work as yet?
Look for a different job now.
What you just said to me?
Get a next job.
What?
Help, let me go.
Let go what? Yeah, let's see what really happened. Let go what? Watch your mouth with me now.
Every weekend mom and dad fight. When are they going to stop?
Domestic violence is not just physical, it's mental, emotional, economical, and psychological. If you, your friend or family member is being abused, you can contact one of the numbers listed below for help. Department of Gender Affairs 662-5492, Special Victims Unit 662-7077, Counseling Unit 465-5000. This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Pan American Health Organization.
I going out tonight. I got a hot date. He older than me, but I don't care. I like what he telling me. He say I look sweet and ting. What? You want me go home with him? Nice. Boy, I wonder if I'm ready for this. I notice he ain't got a condom, but I gonna go ahead, see? He might think me ain't like him or trust him. Plus, this my first time. Nothing gonna happen to me. Lord, how could I let this happen? I ain't ready for no child. Who can support me and my child? My man gone jail and mommy and daddy said they ain't gonna help. I all on my own. How could I be so careless? I wish I could go back to that now. But my education on hold. How could I let this happen? Don't let this happen to you. Contact the Department of Gender Affairs to find out about confidential offices and personnel available to answer questions about your sexuality or pre- or postnatal concerns.
This message was brought to you by Project Viola through the Department of Gender Affairs with support from the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the Caribbean Development Bank.
I wear a mask because I want to protect my child, but also I want to protect his classmates and his teachers.
I wear a mask because I care about the frontline workers who will have to work even harder if those around me get sick.
I wear a mask to protect my family. I wear a mask to protect you. I wear a mask because it is the right thing to do.
I wear a mask because I don't want to put any vulnerable individuals at risk, like my elderly loved ones.
I wear a mask because
we are all in this together.
Where are you going? I just mopped the floor and now the chair leaving marks all over the place. Come on, go in bed, see? Sometimes I just can't take you on.
Violence is expressed in many ways. Most, unfortunately, go unreported or unaddressed for many reasons. If you or someone disabled is being abused, contact the police at 465-2241, social services at 467-1314, or the St. Kitts Nevis Association of Disabled Persons at 465-2151, 663-9077, or 663-4116. This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO.
Do you know that common baked goods such as bread and crackers are high in salt? Get Salt Smart.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. It's time for Connections. Today we will be speaking with Brian Foe, a national of St. Kitts and Nevis. By profession, Brian is a senior system architect in healthcare and a software engineer with over 20 years of experience. And we have the pleasure of speaking with Brian all about his intriguing career. Welcome to GMSKN's Connections, Brian.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so it's always a sheer joy for us to connect with people who have Kittitian and Division roots, as I was saying a little earlier. And so we want to know, in your career as a senior system architect, what exactly are your responsibilities? How can you shed light on what that is for our viewers?
Sure. So what a systems architect does in context of software is to basically, if you think of an architect, a traditional architect who designs how a building should be built, how things should work, how things should interconnect within itself and with the environment around it, it's very similar. So what I do is, as long as there's a problem to be solved with software, then I take a look at the environment, I take a look at what's needed, budget, things like that. And I basically define how that system should be built and maintained going forward.
realize it, but I know it's more extensive than that. But thank you for simplifying it for us.
So, Mr. Fo, was there anything in particular that motivated you towards healthcare information technology?
Yeah, well, you know, my mom's a nurse.
Okay.
And she's been a nurse for almost all of her life. And so I've been exposed to healthcare since I've known myself. Growing up, computers was an interest later on in life.
Okay.
So I did my undergrad degree in computer science and systems engineering at Howard University in Washington, D.C. And it's funny, you know, soon after graduation, I was working not in the healthcare space.
Okay.
I was doing more community-based, you know, connecting communities, things like that. And I got a call from another Howard alum who was putting together a system for the National Medical Association. And he was, you know, it was almost like a desperate call. He was behind schedule. He was almost at budget. And so I went to see what was going on there. And he started to explain what we'll be doing, how the system will be used. And so, long story short, we did the project. It was very successful. But then getting a sense of how software could be used really to help people's day-to-day lives in healthcare, that was like eye-opening for me. Like I said, I've been around healthcare before, but it's been very hands-on, very offline. But now the switch to software was intriguing, and I just kept doing it.
All right, so if you could paint a picture for us, without of course divulging too much information that would perhaps implicate your previous work, what can you tell us about what you've learned about the impact that software has on healthcare? Like, what was the most intriguing part of it for you?
So we that's a very good question. So in day-to-day, we sort of take a lot of things for granted. So at the time I worked in Washington, D.C. It's a very vibrant city, lots of cultures, because, you know, we have the World Bank here, we have IMF, we have all these multinationals. Then you have all these different universities and schools. So it's a massive melting pot in a very small area. And so you go about your day-to-day life, and you take it for granted that everyone is not as vibrant, moving around, able to get what they need done, even in a very developed place like this. And so when you get exposed to folks who have a lot of fears, you know, anxiety, you know, other things like that, or they have real physical impediments that, just like the psychological impediments, sort of limit them from going out, from living life. You know, one of the things I see very clearly is that one condition often leads to another, right? So diabetes, you know, I work a lot with the diabetes treatment center at the hospital at Howard. And, you know, you never just have diabetes. You know, there's hypertension that goes along with that. There's weight, there's like weight problems. So if you could begin to put some of these people at ease, if you could begin to give them a little bit of confidence that they could stay in a very familiar place at their home, at a family member's home, and still be able to connect to healthcare providers and get the care they need. It's very impactful that way when you see the transformation.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes, indeed. So what has been your most favorite project thus far, Mr. Fo?
I have a lot of favorite projects. I've been lucky in that there's, I've worked on many projects that I happen to like.
Okay.
If we take, for example, the Diabetes Treatment Center. So diabetes is what they call a chronic disease. So this is something that you live with for several years. And so in coping with the disease and treating the disease and getting over the disease, it's daily. It's like a daily thing. Now, can you go to the hospital daily? Maybe, but it's a pain. They'll probably turn your back after a while. So you need to provide these services at home. And so the solution that we have is a combination of a website, a portal, and a mobile app, and along with medical devices. So I'm sure that everyone has gone to the doctor. You get the blood pressure cuff, they put it on your arm, they pump it up. You take your blood pressure. We have that in the homes of the patients. We have weight scales in the homes of the patients. We have glucometers where you prick your finger, it takes the blood glucose reading from the blood sample. These are in the homes. And so, but they're digitally connected. So they're wireless, they're Bluetooth. So you could picture a given morning, you step on the weight scale. Before you have a meal, you check your blood sugar. Somewhere along the day, you check your blood pressure. These readings get sent to our system via the app. There's a connected mobile app, and then they show up on the doctor's screen. And so our center cares for 900 plus patients. So every morning there's like a feed of tons of data points from different patients, and the physician or the nurse who's monitoring that could see how Mr. Joe is doing, how so-and-so is doing, and should there be any anomalies, like a spike in one of the readings, then they could quickly take action. So they could, first they'll measure if it's serious, on a 911 level where you have to call the ambulance, or if they need to intervene. And if they do need to intervene, they could spark up like a video call, like a Skype or Zoom, and speak to that patient and see what's going on. And then they could also do medication refills if they need to, or start some sort of treatment or extend the treatment. So that's like the whole like the whole system. There's devices, there's your laptop, there's a mobile app, and right at the comfort of your home, you could get all these medical services.
Okay, good.
Oh, well, that's a whole wealth of information, and I can imagine that, well, now I understand better what you do and why the field is so enthralling and appealing to you, and it's also important as well. Brian will be continuing this discussion in a few moments. Stay tuned, everyone.
Good afternoon, and to what do I owe the pleasure of your visit today?
Good afternoon. After finding a lump, I visited the health center to see a nurse, and she found a lump as well. Doc, do you think this is the big C? I shouldn't have cancer. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Nobody in my family has ever had cancer.
Slow down, not so fast. Not every lump of the breast is cancerous. The breast goes through a number of changes. It can be a piece of fatty tissue or some other non-cancerous lump of the breast. Either way, I'll have to examine you first to make sure.
Okay. I did not know I was supposed to examine my breast myself.
Yes, the self-breast examination is very revealing. It is the first step in diagnosis. It is important to self-examine your breasts once monthly after you've had your period. That way, you would know how your normal, healthy breasts feel and be able to detect any changes early. If any abnormality is detected, there are more defining tests such as the ultrasound and/or mammogram.
Mammogram? No, I've heard that mammogram thing hurts badly.
I'm sure that most of what you've heard about the mammograms are exaggerated encounters. Here's the referral. Take it to the facility. Before the exam begins, you will have to fill out a short pre-test questionnaire. Let the doctor know if there's a possibility of pregnancy. Leave jewelry at home and wear loose, comfortable clothing. Don't wear deodorant, talcum powder, or lotion under your arms or on your breasts, as these may appear on the mammogram and interfere with correct diagnosis. During the exam, each breast is compressed horizontally between two plates for imaging and then diagonally for further imaging as needed. So how was the experience?
It's not what I expected. My teenage sister found a lump in her breast. Should she get a mammogram too?
All lumps of the breast and changes should be investigated. A mammogram is recommended once a year for every woman aged 40 and over, even younger if there's a family history.
OMG, women have to endure a lot.
Men have to check their breasts too. Yes, some men do get breast cancer too. So remember, get checked today. Early detection saves lives.
We are continuing our conversation with Brian Foe, a national of our federation and an information technology professional within healthcare. So Brian, with having over 20 years of experience, what would you say to a budding IT professional?
Explore your interests. So, our field touches almost every other field. And so I don't think there's any reason why you should not apply your talents to healthcare, entertainment, engineering, real estate, doesn't matter. That would be my advice. Find what you like and how you could contribute there.
All right, so a bit of a personal question for you, Brian. I'm just smoothing it over. Have you ever worked in any other industry besides healthcare?
One more time?
Have you worked in any other industry besides healthcare?
Yes. Finance, education, entertainment a little bit. I can't think of too much more, but...
All right, so what was your draw then to information technology? As you rightly said, it touches on many different fields. Perhaps you're even continuing to work in the other fields.
Yeah, it was just fascinating to me. I got into computers fairly late in life, like, past 17 or something like that. And I don't know, it was just very entertaining. I started off playing a lot of games, as a lot of kids do. And then it just kind of grew from there. So when you see your kids playing games, don't be too harsh.
Nice.
You never know where that might go. Gaming is not a great platform that you could apply your skills to.
So, Mr. Foe, what does it take to be an IT professional?
Well, IT is very broad, but for what I do, which is building systems, it takes a little bit of curiosity. You have to ask the right questions. You have to be curious. You have to learn. You have to listen a lot. Very important. The things that, like they say, it's very much what's not said in addition to what is said. So, and then you need an analytical mind. To make sense of chaos, and then patience, because things take, we get spoiled by Google and Amazon and these great companies that make things so easy, but in reality, things take a lot of time, and there's challenges along the way. So you have to exercise some sort of patience. Be confident that it's going to happen.
All right, and the final question that I have for you, Brian, is this. Based on what you've told us about your work in healthcare and IT, the way that they merged and how the end user, basically the patients, can benefit from the work that you do, do you think that there are possibilities, perhaps prospects, for the work that you do and other professionals like you benefiting people here back home in the Federation, improving our own healthcare system in those ways?
Most definitely. And if it comes to that, I hope somehow I'm a part of that. But, just imagine, we're talking online right now, right? So we're, thousands of miles away?
Yep.
You could be Bastia to Sandy Point, but Bastia to Washington, D.C. or New York City. As long as the internet connections are fairly stable and you could sustain it, then you could seek healthcare from any professional. Of course, there's always legal complications and these other things, but
well, what I think
and that's a whole other thing. But there's a lot of scope for it. We have a lot of smart people back home.
Indeed.
And I'm sure we can make it happen.
Well, you know what, Brian? Thank you so much for putting that into the universe and sharing what you do with us. There will be prospects for that, I'm sure.
Yes.
And we do have your number, so if we need to call you for any reason, we'll get in touch.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me on.
You are certainly welcome. You stay tuned. We will be right back with so much more.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Everyone is encouraged to adopt a healthy and positive approach to daily life. Here are a few friendly reminders.
When you go to the local market and food vendors, remember to maintain a social distance of 6 feet or 2 meters apart, and always wear your mask.
Always keep your hands clean. Wash your hands with soap and water, or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
When dining, choose restaurants with staggered seating. This will lower the risk of transmission.
If you have a fever, cough, or other respiratory symptoms, please wear a mask and seek medical care immediately. Rest at home and do not visit the food vendors, local markets, or restaurants.
As a hypertensive patient, in my home, I reduce salt intake by not adding salt during the preparation of my food, not having a salt shaker on my table, limiting the consumption of salty snacks, and choosing products with low sodium content. That's why I am Salt Smart.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
In 2021, MSR Media, a UK and Nevis-based boutique film and TV production company, signed a 3-year multi-movie deal with the Nevis Island administration. Since then, MSR Media has completed several movies on the island, including 1 Year Off, Assailant, A Week in Paradise, Us or Them, and Christmas in the Caribbean. In May, MSR Media extended support to local persons in the Federation to enter their submission for a short film writers competition. Today we have Mr. Philippe Martinez of MSR Media to speak with us on this competition and other MSR projects in the Federation. Good morning, Mr. Philippe and Mr. Martinez, and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Thank you. Very happy to be with you guys.
It's our pleasure to have you today. So we're going to dive right into it. What was the inspiration for this competition?
Well, the inspiration is that MSR Media is building a long-term professional film industry in the Federation. And in order to build a long-term industry, there are several steps. Step number one, we hired about 50 people from the Federation and teach them how to be crew members, which we have done successfully. So we have now a costume designer, production designer, AD, assistant, and many departments are filled with people that have learned the film because we've already shot 6 movies in the Federation. The next step is to encourage people to become actors and give them a proper training to appear in our films, which we're doing as well. And then finally, the last step is to create people that can create stories, writers, but also film directors. That's a longer step because it's a long training, but we felt that making a competition of a short story, a short film, which go for the film festival circuit, would be a great step.
All right, so I'm curious, Mr. Martinez, concerning that competition, obviously anyone would be grateful to participate, so I'm sure that you received multiple submissions. What were some of the things that you looked for to distinguish between the films?
Well, it's hard because we received many applications, much more than I expected, actually. I think, it's keep in mind, this is a very subjective, when you make a competition, it's subjective. I think that what interested us in selecting the winner, I was really hoping to see more social issues story. And we didn't get that many of those, actually. When you make a short film, short film don't generate money. It's really to give a portrait of a country or a society. So I was expecting much more applicant that will create or give us stories of the country itself. And we didn't get many of those. So when we got some that portray stories that happen in the island, I was really touched by that. And then we got a lot of, commercial story, and we one of the winners provided us a great thriller, commercial story. So, the art of making a film is knowing how to tell a story. If the story is good, if it's on the paper, that's already part of the battle that's win.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Martinez, are you at liberty to tell us who the winner was that you were referring to?
Yes, of course. Well, for instance, there is a lady, she's retired from the school department in Nebis. Her name is Arlene Menard, and she came with a story. Yes, and she sent us a story which really was very inspiring. And I have to say, I spent a lot of time listening to her. She described the life of a woman with 2 kids, single woman, during the pandemic, and how she lost her income, and how she had to face the consequences financially and mentally for her children, and how she was able to create something because she was telling me something that was very inspiring to me. She wanted to show how the people can be resilient and how they could overcome an obstacle of the magnitude of the pandemic and do something, create something. So that story really resonated to me, and we decided to select her as one of the winners. There is another winner that Jennifer Harding Marlin, who had a story about the tragedy of the Christina that happened many years ago, and how it affected the young kids not to go swimming because of the fear of their parents, and how to overcome that. So that story also really resonated to me because it's something that happened and that touches many lives in the Federation. So we decided also to make Jennifer a winner. And then the third winner is Nikki Buslam. Let me make sure I pronounce her name correctly. Nikki Busu, who came up with a very captivating thriller, psychological thriller, which was nothing to do with the Federation. But I said to myself, how did she come up with that? And we decided to make a winner. So initially we were going to have only one winner, but frankly, those 3 women came up with 3 stories that were so captivating that we said, you know what, let's just have 3 winners, because we couldn't, honestly, I couldn't turn down those 3 stories.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Mr. Martinez, and congrats on your 6 films as well.
So, Mr. Martinez, I'm listening to you, and I'm really fascinated because obviously I appreciate the fact that you want to showcase things that are relevant to our society and to our people, and thank you for that as well. I also want to know now, in terms of the winners, what's next for them? What's next for their stories?
What's next to them is what each applicant submitted was a page or page and a half story. Now we have to turn that into a proper 10 to 12 page script. So the next step for them is to work with our team on turning a what we call a synopsis. When you write a 1-page story, we call that a synopsis. How to turn a synopsis into a proper screenplay. So that's going to be a process that's probably going to take them a couple of months. One is off the island right now, but the other 2 are here. So when the other lady is coming back, we're going to put them together in a room, and they're going to work with our team where we're going to train them how to professionally turn a story into a proper screenplay that can be shot. That's the next step.
Such a privilege.
Then once, So then once that, when we have the script, then we have to cast them. So we're going to, of course, ask them to be part of that process, because you need actors to be on screen to tell that story, to act in the stories. So that's going to be another interesting process. 100% of the actors will be from the Federation, which is why we have also made a casting call for the next movie that we're producing, which will be the 7th film in the Federation. And we set up a casting app, which I really recommend people to make application. Like that, we have a database of possible actors that our 3 winners can look when they want to cast their film. And then we shoot the shot. So the whole process is going to take a few months, of course, because we have to also train them how to behave and tell a story on the set. So we're going to invite the winner to come on the big movies that we're shooting, so they understand what the director does. They understand how to direct actors. Of course, we will have a full professional crew that do our big movies to do the job, so they will be fully supported. But that's an adventure, and I'm also excited that it's 3 women that won. Listen, we got great stories. I wasn't expecting to receive that many stories, but those 3 voices, because for me, like I said, when you have something like that, you have to tell a story. And those 3 women were really able to tell me their story and captivate our attention.
Well, thank you, Mr. Martinez, for sharing that. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, of course.
Yes.
And as I was joking with you before the segment, you might expect to see Cortensia's application in mine, because you never know. We might be in that database sooner than later.
Absolutely. Listen, think of this competition as education.
Yes.
I believe that education is key. The same way we have educated our local crew jobs into the film industry, the same way we are now also educating young actors how to be on screen and become actors. Now we're educating people that are from the Federation to tell story and to become filmmakers. We're pioneering. We are the pioneer of this industry in the country, but I think that our goal will be achieved when one day we can produce a big film with big movie stars that's directed by a local filmmaker. That day, we can say that we have succeeded to build a long-term industry.
From your lips to God's ears, Mr. Martinez, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. We do appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And you should really talk to those ladies. They're very fascinated
That's a good idea.
Ladies to, yes, you definitely should.
Oh, I think we will. Thank you so much for this.
Have a great one.
All right, bye-bye. Sir.
You're very welcome. Take care.
You too.
More Good Morning SKN in a flash, everyone. Stay tuned.
Has anyone ever touched you here, here, or here? Well, these are actually bad touches, not good ones. And so, if anyone ever touches you in these areas or anywhere else that makes you uncomfortable, you must say no, then go and tell. Say it with me. Say no, then go and tell.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Probation and Child Protection Services, the Ministry of Health, and the Pan American Health Organization.
Most people consume excess salt from processed foods, such as snack foods, processed meats, instant meals, and condiments.
Instead, use fresh vegetables, ground provision, fresh meats, and natural herb seasonings, just like our grandparents did, and just like you did with this soup. We are salt smart.
Hi, if you are a smoker, please pay attention to this message. According to the World Health Organization, there are 1.3 billion smokers in the world today, and tobacco kills 1 out of every 2 smokers. Did you know that there is enough nicotine in 5 cigarettes to kill an average adult if ingested whole? There are more than 7,000 chemicals in tobacco smoke, of which more than 250 are known to be harmful. More than 69 are known to cause cancer, and 16 are classified as Group 1 carcinogens. Smoking kills. Are you ignoring that warning every time you smoke? Please stop. Smoking can lead to severe health complications and even death. It affects almost every organ in the body, especially the lungs and heart. It raises blood pressure, increases blood clots, and increases the risk of stroke, heart attack, and cancer. It is hard to quit smoking, but it is not impossible. Don't let tobacco destroy you. Remember the 4 Ds to curb your tobacco cravings. 1. Delay. Set a time limit before you decide to smoke. 2. Drink water. Go get a drink before you do anything else. 3. Do something else. Have a goodie bag handy of other things to do. And 4. Deep breathing. Take at least 10 deep breaths every time you think about smoking. Quit smoking and live a longer and happier life. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, St. Kitts and Nevis.
I wear a mask because I want to protect my child, but also I want to protect his classmates and his teachers.
I wear a mask because I care about the frontline workers who will have to work even harder if those around me get sick.
I wear a mask to protect my family. I wear a mask to protect you. I wear a mask because it is the right thing to do.
I wear a mask because I don't want to put any vulnerable individuals at risk, like my elderly loved ones.
I wear a mask because
we are all in this together.
Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here. Morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao, bango!
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN, the morning show where you get a little bit of everything for everyone. No tall order at all, is it? All right, so just before the break, we ended our previous segment with Felipe Martinez of MSR Media, who spoke about the company's recent short story writers competition. And joining us now, as if Mr. Martinez could see into the future himself, through that crystal ball, we have the 3 winners of this competition. So we welcome Nikki Pusu in the studio, and of course, joining us via Zoom is Jennifer Harding Marlin. Welcome to
ladies.
Good Morning
Thank
SKN.
you.
So I do have to amend what I said before because we were hoping to have 3. Unfortunately, we have only 2, but you know what? 2 makes it work.
Yes.
Because you're winners anyway, and we're glad to have you. All right, so let's start with Nikki. What motivated you to write?
Well, I've always been passionate about language, writing, literature. My family put a huge emphasis on education and writing and speaking, and so I grew up in a household of writers. Both my parents at one point or the other were educators, and they always just immersed us in language and literature and writing. And so sometimes they would come home and just like throw out picture prompts to us and tell us, write about this. What do you see? What do you think about this? And we had to share and express ourselves. So it's just always been a part of me in my life.
Nice.
So you're a bit of a veteran.
Somewhat.
and second generation at that. Oh. All right, and Jennifer, what about you? What motivated you to write?
Love for reading and writing, and I'm also a swimmer, and so I was motivated to write about the topic of swimming, and I wanted to write something that could include as many people as possible in St. Kitts and Nevis and highlight the importance of aquatics in the country, which I think is really important. And so my passions just combined me to want to write a short film story
Oh,
that
that's
could benefit
great.
the community.
I love that.
So Jennifer, is it that how you made your piece unique to you?
Yeah, so I won't talk about all the details of the film, but I do. The film that I wrote really touches on a 9-year-old girl and her journey to learning how to swim and overcoming obstacles in her personal life, as well as obstacles that she has to overcome in swimming. And so these are like, I wanted to tell a fictional story, but I also wanted to tell the story of people locally, from swimmers to volunteers to government officials to everyone who's involved in aquatics in St. Kitts and Nevis. So I think it's a unique approach to the story.
Lovely. And Nikki, what about you?
My story pretty much focused on a young lady in her adolescent years, and it was largely inspired by my own experiences, my own life growing up on the island of Nevis, and having a lot of those interactions myself. But this young lady, she is struggling with or dealing with both internal and external pressures of life.
Okay.
And it just shows her journey on how she deals with those issues, how she handles them. And also it's a journey of self-discovery for her. And it also is fictitious, but it has a lot of elements of realism to it. So I think that it's something that a lot of young people and middle-aged people and old people can relate to as well.
Oh, nice, nice.
All right, well, I'm going to pivot back to Jennifer at this time. Jennifer, if you need story number 2 about someone who cannot swim, you can base that on me, okay? We'll talk. All right, so how excited are you to work closely with MSR Media in developing your film? What are the points that you're looking for the most, Jennifer?
Yeah, so I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. So thank you very much to Felipe Martinez and the team at MSR Media. I'm looking forward to the entire process, to like refining the writing, to helping develop the film, as well as including as many people as possible in the film and really telling the story of the development of aquatics in St. Kitts and Nevis. I mean, St. Kitts and Nevis is one of the only Caribbean countries without a swimming pool. So it'd be great to highlight swimming in St. Kitts and Nevis, and then eventually try to get a swimming pool so that more people can learn how to swim, including yourself.
Yes, indeed.
We'll have to get you in the pool.
I'll help him get in.
Oh, yes. I understand that there are plans to have that. We did talk about it in the news, so sooner than later there will be a swimming pool here in St. Kitts, so we're looking forward to it. Yes. All right. Swimming site, indeed. I'm getting this little birdie in my ear telling me, yeah, this is what we need to say, so indeed. All right, so Nikki, what are you looking most forward to in terms of working with MSR Media to bring the film to life?
I'm looking forward to the process, the entire process of learning, of growing, of developing, of creating, and also receiving the guidance that I would need to become more of an expert myself in the field. I've always been interested in theater, in drama, in acting. I've been a part of several drama groups on the island of Nevis and abroad, and I've taught theater. I've dealt with all of that my entire adult life. So just being able to be a part of a professional process and be guided in developing and creating and seeing firsthand what it takes to create something of the sort, I'm really excited for the opportunity.
Lovely.
I have to say we're excited for you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. And I don't know if it would be too much to give away, but do you ladies know the actors that will be portrayed in your film?
At this point, for myself, I don't know the actors who would be portrayed in the film. Mr. Martinez mentioned that the actors would be local, and so a cast call would be had, and persons would have to sign up and try out and rehearse and the whole process. But I have some ideas about who I might want to cast as certain characters in the story.
Okay, and Jennifer, what about you?
Yeah, same here. So I'm in the same position as Nikki. We don't have anyone in particular yet, so we'll have a casting call in the future.
Well, if you need somebody to pretend drown.
You got Jamie.
you know. All right, so Jennifer, this one is yours first. What can you tell us about the creative process that you went through in writing your winning piece?
Yeah, so I tried to write as much as possible all throughout the year. And then when I saw that this opportunity, I really thought of, different ideas and trying to be mostly inclusive of people as possible. And so I thought it was like a really easy topic for me to write about as a swimmer. And so, yeah.
All right, terrific. And Nikki?
Well, the creative process for me entailed a lot of reflection. It entailed a lot of quiet time and isolation. I think for me, most of my creativity stems from that space of solitude and reflection. And it was the same for this story because, as I mentioned, this story was largely based on experiences that I've had, individuals close to me have had as well. And so I definitely would have had to reflect a bit on what I wanted to share.
Nice.
Well, I have to say, and speaking with Mr. Martinez a little earlier, The Wallflower, which is your title, he spoke about that, and I tell you, he seemed to be in awe.
Yeah, he's
and
excited.
I can't wait to see. And similarly, Jennifer, your piece in swimming. Listen, I'm captivated. Just the fact that both of you wrote what you wrote, and we are going to see films developing from it. We're eager to do that. All right, so we'll be back in a moment. Everyone, stay tuned.
Good morning, SKN. This is Lyrical. I just want to say blessings for you. There are a happy place in the life if you live in there. A happy place in the life if you live in there. Cause them at a happy place in the life. And they can't change. And they just come out here to do right. So whether day or night, they will never ever change. Blessings, blessings, and blessings.
Everyone is encouraged to adopt a healthy and positive approach to daily life. Here are a few friendly reminders.
When you go to the local market and food vendors, remember to maintain a social distance of 6 feet or 2 meters apart. And always wear your mask.
Always keep your hands clean. Wash your hands with soap and water or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. When dining, choose restaurants with staggered seating. This will lower the risk of transmission.
If you have a fever, cough, or other respiratory symptoms, please wear a mask and seek medical care immediately. Rest at home and do not visit the food vendors, local markets, or restaurants.
Salt is an important part of the human diet, but most of us consume more than we realize.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
So Good Morning SKN as we continue our conversation with Nikki Basu and Jennifer Marling. So you ladies are talking about writing ahead of time. You were writing ahead of time knowing of this competition, or because you were creatives, you were just writing?
For me, I was just writing. And I personally embrace all genres.
Okay.
So I dabble in poetry. I dabble in fiction. I like historical fiction as well. I do narratives. I do personal narratives. So I have like a wide range of stories that I could pull from.
Okay.
But specifically for this competition, I decided to create something that I didn't have laying around before.
Yeah, okay.
And as I said, a lot of my, the story is largely based on experiences of people that I know, interact with, and the islands and how it makes us feel and the things that we're restricted by and you know, those types of pressures and challenges that we face that are specific to the island. So I think this script is different. It's a lot different to a lot of my previous work.
Okay. And Jennifer, what about you?
Yeah, so I try to do as much writing as possible, although like my career as an attorney keeps me quite busy. I love like the solitude of St. Kitts and Nevis and the peaceful environment to be able to write. And so when I saw that this competition was happening, I didn't have this story already pre-written. I sat down and spent time alone and came up with a storyline for this, which I'm just talking to Nikki, and then we have a lot of similarities in terms of highlighting the island and issues that people face. So it's interesting.
So you ladies really have a lot of similarities because everything alike.
Well, yeah, one of the things that you said, which our viewers didn't see happening during the break, is the fact that you both enjoy the solitude as inspiration for writing. How important is that to you, first of all, Jennifer?
Yeah, I think it's very important to take time alone and reflect and you know, really figure out like who you are, as well as what inspires you and what your goals are in life. And so I think it's something really important that people should do if they can, spend time alone.
And Nikki, what our viewers did not see is one of the most interesting things that I think you've said, and you've said a lot of interesting things, you both have, but one of the most interesting things that you've said in terms of your interactions with people is that you get inspiration from that, and you might not necessarily know that at the time.
Right. I definitely am inspired by a lot, and inspired in different ways, by people, by the environment, by conversations that I've had, even one-offs. But as Jennifer mentioned, being able to take all of that and use it in a space of solitude and reflection is what inspires my creative process. there's just a lot of distraction throughout the course of the day and in your usual busy work life to really create something of, in my opinion, of great substance. So sometimes, even though I feel inspired to write and I feel the urge or the itch to write at work, because of all the distraction and the noise, I can't really express myself as I would when I'm alone. So.
So, ladies, and I will start with Jennifer. What advice would you give to persons who are struggling with writing?
I think you just have to keep trying and keep writing and try not to be judgmental of your own writing. Sometimes it's good to just write anything on paper and then refine your ideas afterwards. And if writing a short film is something you really want to do, I'd say never give up and continue writing.
And Nikki?
I would say much of the same. I would also say be open to the possibilities. As writers, sometimes we start with an idea and we think that it's going to be pretty streamlined, but as we go through the process itself, it turns into something that's completely different. And I would encourage people to just be open and run with that, whatever comes forth.
All right, so ladies, the competition is over. What's next? Nikki?
Well, the next step would be participating in the training sessions with Mr. Martinez and the team, learning as much as possible about the process of cinematography, and refining the scripts, going through that entire preparatory process, and I'm definitely looking forward to all of that.
And Jennifer?
Yeah, so I'm going to be following a similar process to Nikki. I'm very, very excited. It's a new field for me, so lots of learning to happen over the next few weeks and few months. So looking forward to it.
I have a telephone in my hand, and you might wonder why. It comes from our executive producer and owner here at Studio 327. We're mentioning the fact that at Studio 327, we're very happy to be a part of the winners bringing their stories of the pandemic to life and how it affected so many persons, especially single mothers. So this note comes. Thank you both, and MSR Media as well. So in continuing very briefly, I do always like to pick, writers' brains. So let's talk about the parts that you are really hoping to make it into film. Obviously, this is text on paper, but you must have some sort of visual impact that you want to see come to life. So let's start with Jennifer. Is there any particular feature that you want to see in that film? And if so, what is it?
So I want to highlight the people and the places, the culture in the film. So there'll be a lot of, it's swimming, so there'll be beaches like Wally Beach, Penny's Beach, and other beaches will be featured in the film. And then people that are involved in aquatics, the coaches and instructors, and people that are involved in the sport. So I really want to capture different aspects, but I definitely know that I want to highlight the beautiful scenery that St. Kitts and Nevis has, as well as the warm people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, great. And Nikki?
Similarly, I want to highlight the culture, but more so the familial family dynamics and social dynamics within the nation. I think that our experiences here in St. Kitts and Nevis and like the wider region culturally are very similar, and they're also quite different to a lot of other nations around the world. So my story pretty much highlights and emphasizes a lot of those familial struggles that we have and a lot of people can relate with.
Very different stories, but both winners.
Yes.
We cannot wait
Congratulations,
to see
ladies. You're welcome.
Your films.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us here. It's been a pleasure. And we're going to stay close because I don't think this is your only project. So as time progresses, we're going to be in touch. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. More Good Morning SKN in a moment. Stay tuned.
Jamie, I was just...
Most people consume excess salt from processed foods, such as snack foods, processed meats, instant meals, and condiments.
Instead, use fresh vegetables, ground provision, fresh meats, and natural herb seasonings, just like our grandparents did, and just like you did with this soup. We are Salt Smart.
Self-health management refers to the measures people take to manage their own health. You and I should remember to wash hands often with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. Take your temperature morning and evening. Watch for symptoms. Persons with diabetes or hypertension are reminded to take your medication regularly as prescribed. If you have no symptoms, you may carry out your normal routine and boost your immune system. When you are outside, avoid public spaces and wear a mask at all times. If you develop symptoms, put on a mask and seek medical care. Do not take public transportation. Inform the doctor of your travel history, any contact with confirmed or suspected cases, your occupation, and whether anyone around you has similar symptoms. If you become ill, please rest at home. Wear a mask and isolate yourself from others in your household. If you share a bathroom, disinfect daily using 1 part bleach to 10 parts water. Everyone must work together to reduce the spread of the coronavirus.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe. Everybody gonna be one safe. One people. We are roll up to roll up. Yeah. Cause no man's alone. Do what's right. Alright. Cause I love you. Brother, my sister. And we're in this together. My sister, my brother. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Hey, I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Tell your mommy to roll up to roll out.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. So we spoke with Brian Foe earlier about his fascinating career as an information technology specialist, specifically as a senior system architect and software engineer. So we were inspired, as you can tell, by the colorful whatever we've got going on.
That I match perfectly in.
Matches Hortensia so well. Yes, you took my words. We were inspired by that. And we'll try our hands at architecture and engineering.
Yes.
Clues to how we're going to do that? Well, we'll be building a house of cards as we loosen up, and there's no other way to crash and burn, no better way to crash and burn than building a house of cards with me involved. So here's the deal. We each have our own deck of cards, and the test is to see who can build the tallest and most structurally sound house of cards. Let's begin. And I love the precautions here because the air conditioning unit was turned off to facilitate our building.
Oh
so
my
Hortensia,
gosh. How do you build cards?
well, you see, therein lies the problem. I believe that there were assumptions in the first place that we knew how to do these things.
Oh my gosh.
But hey, you know what? It is what it is.
My
We're
building
building our house
is
of
not
cards.
structurally sound. It's already falling apart. Look at it.
Oh, okay.
So how do we do that?
Don't worry. Have you ever built anything before in your life? That's the question.
Yes, a mud hut.
Mud hut?
Yeah.
Ever had to build a Barbie?
No, build a Barbie. She comes built. We just take her apart.
Well, that's the point. Then you get to build her back, right? You ever did that? You know, like deconstructed Barbie? That's my favorite word
Deconstructed
these
Barbie,
days.
yes.
Deconstructed Barbie doll.
How do we?
Listen.
Look at, I see this on TV, but now I can't do it.
It's amazing that we got inspired by Brian Foe, who has 20 years of experience building.
I know, and we have
we are
zero.
here with like 20 minutes, and we're going to be this. It's really funny.
Listen,
Okay,
the viewers
I'm
are
watching
probably
you.
having a field day out of this.
Build your card, okay?
How do you
Hortensia,
build your card?
Here's what we're going to do. Can we violate some rules here? Can I hold one and you go with it? Is that how we're going to do it? Let's go.
No,
Guys,
there isn't.
we have no model.
We
are
have no
building.
instructions. We've never built card houses.
Okay, here's what.
Oh my God. I can't build it.
You want to build a hand for poker? Can we do that instead?
Can we play Catch 21? Maybe we can.
Yeah, let's do that. We're going to try the building
Listen,
another day.
The viewers need to let me know how they are doing building in their cards because I can't. Look, I can't. I literally can't. I'm trying.
It has to be anchored by...
Wow.
So how does it work?
Hortensia, apparently it has to be anchored. Here we go. You
Oh,
want
my
to play?
stuff is up
You
on
want to play? Who has the lowest card after 3 rounds?
Okay, anchored. Okay, let me try that.
All right, I'm going to watch you. I'm going to watch and learn. I've never built anything in my life, and it's very interesting to watch this play out. And you're doing it, but for some reason, it's just not working
saying.
out. Like
It's
I
like
said,
the card ends are too smooth.
there is a way to crash and burn, and we've got to use this.
I've been crashing and burning like crazy.
Got to use that, and we're trying that.
Okay, let's try.
And
Let's
we're
try it
trying
this
that.
way.
So something is wrong.
And here we go.
You're
awesome,
staying?
guys.
I thought you stayed.
Hortensia, guys.
What are
on
we
live
doing that's
television,
wrong?
Anything goes. So here's what. Plan B. We're going to build our deck another day. Are you ready to shuffle? Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
'Cause
Do I know how to shuffle?
Yes,
Could
you do.
Could you
Okay.
tell who is?
Guys, Hortensia and I right now are playing who gets the lowest number, right?
Okay.
That works.
Because we can't. We
really can't
We're
build a
just
thing.
losing at the
And
tower.
you know what? This is kudos to Brian Foe for inspiring us. Unfortunately, our inspiration couldn't be realized.
We tried.
So we're
We
going
tried
on
to build it.
Plan B. All right, let's go. So you
The
want me to go
lowest number?
first?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you what it is. Got a 5.
No way, Jose.
No?
We cannot be
Oh, we're
this
tied.
alike.
Okay, next round. Awesome. 3. Oh, this is really working out.
I won.
You won.
I won.
1 point
I
for
won.
Hortensia.
0 for Jamie.
So do I go again or do you? Okay,
Go
let's
ahead.
go. Ooh.
Shucks.
I won.
Immediately.
1 point for me, so we're tied.
Oh, well.
Go.
You won again, too.
I won again. Wow.
Look at
This
you.
is imagine when I choose the game I get to win. And you know what? I'm being interrupted in my winning, but that's fine. I already won. It works. It's time now for what's happening. All right, so let's take a look at what's happening. There's a self-defense training camp. The St. Kitts and Nevis Karate Association will be hosting, you think somebody came in and did that to our cards? The St. Kitts and Nevis Karate Association will be hosting a self-defense training camp starting today, Monday, July 11th, and will run until the 22nd of July, 2022. Yeah, this year, of course. Attendees must be ages 12 and up, and they will learn the art of boxing, Yeah, don't box me, please. Karate and judo. Well, your favorite move is the kick. I always joked with you about that. The camp will be hosted Mondays to Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Victoria Road Community Center.
Yes.
And though the camp has already started, call Mr. Johnson. You're late, but he's still allowing you to do so. Call Mr. Johnson at 764-7702 to find out if you can still apply. And the cost is only $50. So call now to sign up. Imagine that. And sign up for the Self-Defense Training Camp. And I love the title as well, Self-Defense Training Camp. Great.
Yeah. Best Creative Tunnel Photo and Video Contest. I took a picture in the tunnel the other day. Take a chance to win a prize in the Clean Right Best Creative Tunnel Video and Photo Contest. Categories and prizes includes Beginner's Best Photo. Ooh, $500, y'all. $500. I know, right? Influencer's Best Video. That's 4K plus followers, $850. That's a lot of money, y'all. Almost vacation money right there you can get if you're going away. And the photographer's best photo, $1,300. Oh my gosh, the money, the moolah. Think of how many things we can do with that. We can even go and start the building of our swimming pool. Videographer's and a videographer's best video, $3,000. That's where the big money is at. So videographers, there you go. Here are the criterias: quality, composition, comprehension, relevance to theme, originality, technique, no digital alterations. So winners will be selected based on a combination of Facebook likes and a judging panel. The entry deadline is July the 18th. Email photos and videos to info@cleanrightnow.com.
All righty.
So we're going with our cameras. We're going to be expert videographers.
I guess. We have time for one more item. I guess so. I'll do it really quickly. Leap. Our Leap Cheer Leap. All right, Leap Cheer rather. Here we go. So Leap is introducing its cheer class this September 2022. All boys and girls ages 5 and up are welcome. Classes will take place on Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Leap Studio in Frigate Bay, St. Kitts. The cost is EC $80 per month or EC $60 with a multi-class discount. And if you know any boys or girls who would be interested in this cheer class with Leap, sign them up now for classes this coming September. All right, there you go. That's what's happening. And here's what's happening now. We are going to thank you for joining us today for another edition of Good Morning SKN. Follow us on our social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Studio 327 Inc. Like, subscribe, follow, and share.
And we always invite you to leave us a comment and let us know what you would like to see next here on Good Morning SKN, where we have a little bit of everything for everyone. And this is where we always, well, I like to compel you, I like to advise you, but you won't get the content if you don't tune in, so you have to tune in tomorrow at 8 a.m. when you will start your morning bright and early with us right here at Good Morning SKN, where we smile before 11:26 a.m.